What if I told you that all of your complaints, the broken promises, even the games that you wish for would be used against you? What if I told you that the day before one of the most hilariously bad video game scams in video game history was nothing but a prelude? This isn't fact or fiction. Look, there are a lot of people that are out there that want your money. Some people want to earn it. Other people, they'd much rather steal it. And in this golden age of technology, your boy has stumbled upon a little bit of a rabbit hole. And when I came out on the other side, I realized that things are going to get far worse than people could ever have imagined. Actually, they already are bad to begin with. I'm talking about fake games made by fake people. That's right, they don't exist. Well, they kind of exist, but not really at the exact same time. They still want your money regardless. In a world where we have to ask, is that AI? Am I AI? We're going to see a wave of games, fake games, crash into the video game market, selling dreams and disappearing in a puff of smoke. So today what I want to do is I want to talk about the good and bad of generative AI in video games, a few developments that we just saw recently, how quickly this technology is getting out of hand, how it might be used to create the games of your dreams, or how it's eventually going to be used to steal them. The only thing that's protecting you is Steam. Now, fake games aren't anything new. One of my favorite videos by Super Eyepatch Wolf dives into this very idea, showcasing fan-made mock-ups, crossover dreams, and bizarre what-if scenarios. Stuff like if Pokemon was reimagined in its original concept art, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure adapted into a light novel, or my favorite, which is the Game Boy Breaking Bad, where the entire cast turns into cosmic horrors and fights in the streets. That kind of creativity has always been a beloved part of gaming culture, but the term fake game is about to mean something very, very different. The most prolific example of a fake game that we've ever seen was The Day Before, which launched just a couple years ago. Its early trailers looked like it was every gamer's wet dream: polished visuals, tight gunplay, a tone that felt like it was ripped straight out of The Division, a zombie survival horror MMO with AAA flair. It's like it was made by the gamers themselves. It quickly rose to the most wishlisted game on Steam and stayed that way up until the game's launch. But as that release neared, red flags started to pile up. The devs said that they needed more developers, but only wanted volunteers. Then they suddenly announced that they wanted to switch their engines just a year before launch, and when the game finally dropped, it was a barely functioning asset flip. The game was pulled from Steam almost immediately, and refunds went out across the board. It was one of the most blatant scams that we have ever seen, and a reminder that today's tools can make it dangerously easy to fake legitimacy. For every small team that's using that tech to be able to make something amazing, like Expedition 33, there will be others who are going to mislead you, whether they mean to or not. Now, I'm bringing this up because last week somebody dropped into one of my live streams and asked me if I'd seen a trailer for a game called Ball Buds. Said Asmongold had reacted to it and they thought that it looked cool and wanted to see if I wanted to check it out. So I pulled it up, and what I basically found was a more unhinged version of Pal World, a game that was calling itself a game made for grown-ass adults. The trailer was weird, but the overall concept was actually pretty cool. I like the idea of a happy-go-lucky creature collector during the day and a survival horror game at night, but it was also completely fake. Everything in it, character animations, character designs, environments, moment-to-moment gameplay, it was all stitched together with AI. You can see it in the visual inconsistencies, in the uncanny movements, the porcupine character whose hands literally change when they go to lockpick, and yet, in the YouTube comments of that video, even in my chat, people were convinced that it was a real game. Hell, there was somebody in the comment section of that VOD that was pushing back against my comments, saying Ball Buds looks awesome and dude is confused. I have no idea if that trailer is AI. Who cares? But it's obvious it's not real gameplay, but a vertical slice proof of concept CGI trailer. That's not up for debate. Literally everyone can see it. What is debatable is if it's fake or AI. It's not obvious that it's fake. Oh no, guys, we might be cooked. Yes, it matters. Of course it matters if a trailer is fake, especially when it's attached to any kind of funding or a call for money. It matters when anyone, and I mean anyone, can generate a convincing game trailer using AI, especially if they have zero ability to actually deliver on what they're selling. Just to prove this point, I spent 20 minutes, literally 20 minutes, in a free trial of Google Flow. No effort, lazy prompts, no editing, and I still walked away with some passable gameplay footage of an action RPG with relatively consistent art and visuals. Now, I want you guys to imagine what somebody could do if they were actually trying. Now, I want to be clear, I realize that this is probably not a popular opinion, but I am not anti-AI. I think that using generative footage to be able to visualize your game is a smart idea. It can save you time, it can save you money, test interests, and help solo developers who aren't artists themselves and can't afford concept artists be able to make their game. There is nothing wrong with that. But when the entire thing is fake and you're not disclosing it, when your trailer is AI generated, when your website says nothing, and both of those things link to pre-orders as if this game is already deep in development, that is not creative marketing. That, for all accounts, looks like a scam. Hell, they even used blurry images of the Epic Games, Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation logos on their page, signaling that it would be available for sale on those platforms. Something that you are only allowed to do if you are an approved developer with a signed agreement or in distribution talks, which, as far as I can tell, it isn't. Intrigued, I dug deeper. The Kickstarter page was essentially just a copy-paste of the website, same trailer clips, paragraphs, no new details or insights into who or how this game is being made. The campaign hasn't launched yet, so no money has changed hands, but it already has over 700 followers, which suggests that there are people that are at least watching, maybe even planning to back this the minute that it goes live. The listed creator, John the Chairman Lau, uses a profile picture that several AI detection tools flagged as synthetic, and while those tools aren't perfect, it still raises yet another red flag. And on Twitter, well, things got even weirder because I came across a second account under that exact same name, John Lau, engaging with Ballbud's posts as if they were just another excited fan. But that account is over 2 years old and has no post history outside of liking those trailers, replying to Ballbud's tweets, and arguing with other commenters. Now, all this could be intentional or it could be nothing. It might genuinely just be somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. Maybe they saw how much money indie games are making right now and they decided, you know what, I'm going to change careers. And they figured that AI was going to be able to help them fake it until they make it. But even if that's the case, even if there's no malicious intent, the use of AI has to be disclosed. Otherwise, it's misleading by default. When you present AI-generated footage as real gameplay, when you show off a game that doesn't actually exist and ask people to support it, that crosses a line, intentional or not. Looking into all this made something painfully clear that this technology is moving way faster than most people realize, and it's putting players at risk, it's putting customers at risk, because we've already seen scams on Kickstarter, GoFundMe, and other crowdsourcing platforms, games designed to hit every single complaint that you have, every nostalgia-fueled dream that you've ever posted online with zero intention or ability to actually deliver. Some of them will throw out a barely functioning pre-alpha build just to be able to buy some time. Others will just vanish entirely. And now with tools like Google Veo, Sora, and Runway, it's only going to get worse. Right now, the signs are still there. Maybe something looks uncanny. Maybe the movement is off. Maybe you just feel it in your gut and you can't explain why, but that window is closing. These AI-generated trailers are getting more convincing by the month, and eventually, they're going to be indistinguishable from the real thing, even for the people that know what they're looking for. And that's what makes this all so dangerous, because this isn't happening in a vacuum. It's been happening at the exact moment that players are starting to look elsewhere. We've been burned by unfinished launches, live service failures, monetization, and games entirely disconnected from their audiences. We are done with AAA. People are so tired. So we turn to something else. We turn to developers who actually care. We turned to indie. And that's what makes this also worrying, because indie games have never been more respected. They have never had more goodwill or trust from players. For the first time in decades, small teams are getting the kind of support that AAA used to enjoy, bringing arguably some of the best gaming experiences that we have seen in years. And that makes it the perfect moment for bad actors to slip in and take advantage of that trust, that support, and your generosity. You guys already know that I am insanely protective of the indie game scene. I will always talk about their games, promote their games, defend their games if necessary, because from my perspective, they represent the changing of the old guard, the opportunity for a fresh start, a chance to play games as they should be made and for the right reasons. And we have been spoiled, my friends. I mean, we've had so many premium AA and indie games released over the past couple of years. My backlog is in tears right now. But that faith and goodwill that we have afforded to indie developers will eventually be used against us. It's already been used against people in the past. Right now, you have people that are out there that are seeing these indie developers become overnight millionaires. Tyler, Schedule 1, that game sold over 6 million units. He made over $100 million self-published. People want a piece of that. Essentially, what we're going to see is the same thing when we saw with the mobile app boom. For you guys that don't remember, back when we got rid of the phone and we went to the smartphone, well, everybody saw these tech bros making millions of dollars making these apps, and everybody thought to themselves, I can make an app. I did the same thing myself, to be honest with you. A ton of people with a lot of ideas, but no way to actually make anything and no ability to be able to make anything. A lot of people selling ideas with no intention or ability to be able to make it. Right now, the difference between then and now is that we have tools to make something believable. Not to make something real, but to make something believable. And people are going to sell that. People are going to push that. They're going to make their AI trailers for all kinds of different things, whether it's products, whether it's video games, whether it's television shows or movies, and they're going to push it. You're going to have people that are out there, and this is the other part of it, you're going to have people that are going to believe that they can do it and are going to sell it even when they can't actually do it. And you're also going to have some people that genuinely have no interest whatsoever in making it, knowing they won't make it, and sell it to you regardless. Either way, they're going to be taking money. So the question ends up becoming, what do we do? Are we even protected? The answer to that is it's all on you. Right now, the technology has advanced simply too fast for any law or protection to be able to get in place to be able to protect anybody from it. And in a lot of cases, to be honest with you guys, I don't even really want it to be hindered because that might have an impact on the potential positives from its progress. What this comes down to is its platform holders, retailers. They're the ones that are responsible for protecting their customers. And right now, there's only one platform that's doing it. Now, this is more of a personal stance, but when it comes to early access games, or honestly any game in general anymore, I do not trust most crowdfunding platforms. I know that there have been some success stories through Kickstarter, GoFundMe, and the like, but I have never felt confident putting my money in those places. I only invest in places where I feel like the customer's interests actually come first, and in this industry, that is an incredibly short list. Right now, there is really only one platform that is actively trying to protect and inform its users, and that's Steam. I've checked PlayStation, Xbox, Epic Game Store, hell, even GOG, and none of them had any mention of AI disclosure or protections. At the start of 2024, before generative AI really exploded, Valve had quietly updated its policies. They didn't ban the use of AI, but they did something smarter. They required transparency. Developers using generative tools would now have to disclose its use, filed under two different categories: pre-generated content like AI-generated art, code, and music, and live-generated content, meaning anything that's produced by an AI while the game is running. This, from my perspective, was a universal Steam W yet again. They are not blocking progress, but instead, they are just ensuring that players know what they are buying. If somebody wants to avoid AI-made content, they can. If they don't want to, that's fine, but at least the choice is there. Actually, this came up recently with a game called The Alters, a sci-fi survival base builder that is currently one of the highest rated games this year, but it came under fire for reportedly using generative AI without disclosing it, which could put it in Valve's crosshairs. According to IGN and others, translations as well as background art assets were AI generated. One even included a leftover prompt, something that read something like, "Okay, I'll make another captain's log entry based on science fiction and cosmic elements." 11-Bit Studios, the creator of the game, actually admitted to it and apologized and said that that content was not supposed to ship. It was placeholder art and temporary text that just slipped through. Now, I'm going to be straight with you guys. I do not care. I've been playing The Alters. It's a fantastic game, and if they had to use AI to be able to streamline their processes to make the game as great as they made it, then I have no issues with whatever means it took to make that game. I am a customer first. While I appreciate the effort, I do not derive value from effort. I derive it from the quality of the product itself. But that didn't stop Games Media from trying to make a controversy out of it. Tessa Carr of The Gamer wrote an article in response to The Alters titled "The Alters Not Disclosing AI Usage is an Ill Omen of Things to Come," where they first discuss the claims against The Alters and then move on to why they believe disclosure matters. On that section on disclosure, they write, "The disclosure matters. It matters to Valve because it has to protect itself from potential legal issues, but it also matters to players who want to distance themselves from games that include AI-generated content. After all, gamers love to vote with their wallets, and they should be able to do so with full knowledge of what a game includes." But perhaps more importantly, every game that ignores the disclosure is a splash of oil on an already slippery slope. It appears that Valve doesn't actually enforce its anti-AI rules. A game that fails to disclose AI use isn't removed from the storefront until it adds a disclosure. As far as I can tell, it isn't penalized in any way. Black Ops 6 remained on Steam throughout the controversy, and while it did eventually add an AI disclosure, that was likely due to player backlash and not pressure from Valve. The worst part of all of this is that people have to actively hunt for signs of AI usage to know if it's being used. I would have never zoomed in to read a text crawl, but we kind of have to nowadays since it's everywhere. We can't just enjoy media anymore. Life is a constant witch hunt for weird text, strange images, the wrong number of fingers on a hand. A lot of people who don't want to engage with generative AI on any level can't trust studios to be honest using it, and it's changing the way that we engage with things. Right now, I wish I could just zip into one of my own Alter's timelines where it doesn't exist. We can absolutely still enjoy media, and honestly, if you are spending most of your time obsessively zooming into every single piece of text, video, or a background image just to be able to sniff out whether AI was used, well, you probably got bigger problems to worry about. But with that said, I do think disclosure matters. But it only matters right now, and it only matters to some people and only in very specific ways. The reasons that most customers in the gaming space really care about AI isn't because of the lack of human labor or ethical concerns, it's about quality. Generative content is just mediocre. It does not give you incredible results. It rarely hits what you're asking it to do. You get weird hands, bugged out faces, repetitive art, and dialogue that sounds like it's a parody of itself. It breaks immersion, and that's what players are actually responding to. From a customer perspective, value comes from the quality of the product, not from the effort that went into making it. I just don't understand how some of these people can't see that. Just look at Dragon Age the Veilguard. They pushed back on the criticisms that were made against their game, and they said that they made the best game that they could. But that effort doesn't really mean a whole lot when nobody actually wants to play what you made. Meanwhile, Schedule 1, which was made with a fraction of the time, with no budget or care for fidelity, no prestige storytelling or flashy mechanics, that game sold over 6 million copies. I do think that there's valid concerns around job loss and where this tech can take us in the long term, but once AI content becomes more consistent, more normalized, most people will not care if it's used, especially if they are getting what they want. I mean, everybody knows how phones are made. We know where they're made and under what conditions, yet everybody is walking around with one in their hands. It feels pretty obvious at this point that generative AI is only going to become more common. It is going to show up in every industry, in every walk of life, whether you like it or not. And honestly, I'm not particularly bothered by that. The genie's already out of the bottle. And at the end of the day, it's a tool, a powerful, disruptive tool for sure, but still a piece of technology. And like any major technological shift, it is going to lead to faster workflows, fewer bottlenecks, and probably higher quality work done with a lot less effort. Right now, the games industry is stuck in this really weird split where generative AI is either embraced or demonized. There is no middle ground. There is no nuance. It is either the best thing that has ever happened to game development or it is the death of the industry as we know it. On one side, you got some real concerns, like those Xbox layoffs. Don't worry, we'll be talking about those next week, where over 9,000 people were let go. But according to Matt Piscatella at Circana, those cuts were not about profit margins. They were about reallocating resources to build AI infrastructure, and that is horrifying to some people, not necessarily to me. Now, on the other side, you've got smaller, more focused teams that are using those very same tools to create things that they never could have pulled off otherwise. From a business perspective, I see it this way. You either get in front of it or you get swept underneath it. And while I understand that people are worried, genuinely, this tech is not going to slow down. Fighting against it doesn't stop its momentum. It's just going to increase the risk of being left behind. I'm one of those people where I don't outright condemn it, but I do understand the risks. And personally, I have no issue with developers using generative AI to be able to help make their games as long as the end result is worth my money and the time that I invest into it. That is all this comes down to. This technology can help teams build faster with more flexibility and without needing a 300-person payroll. But like any tool, it works best in the hands of someone with actual skill, talent, and vision. With that said, I do think that games need that unmistakably human touch, a real perspective, something that cannot be stitched together from prompts, that kind of voice that breathes life into a world, into its characters, and into how that game makes you feel. AI is obsessed with perfection, even though it's not perfect itself. Humans are messy, complicated, inconsistent, and sometimes it's those flaws that shine through the brightest. This is such a weird and interesting conversation that I never see handled with a shred of nuance. In a lot of cases, people are virtue signaling in one way or the other. It's either the worst thing or the best thing. You need to either get with it or go without it. And I just don't really necessarily see that being the case. I can easily see a lot of these corporations seeing it as their ultimate solution to their problems, where they can use it to call their workforces and boil everything down to being able to just make anything they want with a simple command input. But I just don't really think that's the way. I don't think that's going to work, not at least for every industry, definitely not for creative ones. That's where it's probably going to struggle the most. But I think that you're going to have some people that are going to know what they're doing, that they're going to use this technology, they're going to use their skill, their artists, their musicians, and they're going to create some of the greatest games that you've ever seen by using this AI to its absolute limit. As this technology continues to grow and gets more complex and complicated, you're going to see some wild stuff that people are going to be able to make in the future. I always had this dream or this idea that we would likely see games that genuinely have different experiences for every single person that plays them, because the game is generating an experience based off of you, everything you do, and nobody could ever actually have a similar experience. I think that'd be a really cool game to be able to play. But you're also going to have a lot of people that are out there that are going to think that this technology can do everything for them, and that's what they want it to do. And I think in some cases it'll get to that point where they'll be able to do that, but I don't think it's going to be able to deliver a similar product. Maybe it might. In some cases, you're going to see both of those groups succeed. You're going to see the people that know what they're doing and the people that don't or have no interest in it, and both of them are going to have successes. But you're also going to have a group of scammers that are out there. They're going to try to separate you from your money using it. So that's something to keep an eye on. That's why I'm really happy when I look at Steam and I see that they're not being fatalistic, or they're not just ignoring it, and instead they just make it an active conversation between the developer and the audience. And I think that's the way that it should be. You shouldn't try to stand in front of progress. I think that you should try to embrace it the best that you can, but it's important to be able to at least disclose what's going on. And as this technology is today, it is in a way where we need to know if it's being used. Because personally, if somebody tells me, oh, all the art in our game is AI generated, I'm going to want to look at the art to make sure that it's not boo-boo and it's going to devalue my experience. If it all looks cool, that's great, that's awesome, but it's going to make me a little bit more wary, especially when it comes to things like voice acting or translations. That stuff is very hit or miss. So yeah, but eventually the technology is going to get better. It's going to improve, and at one point in time it's going to be indistinguishable from the real thing. And then I guess there's some ethical conversations to have, but I don't know. I'm one of those people where I'm pretty easy to, well, I'm not that easy to please, but I don't know. We'll see. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, comment down below. Tell me if you guys have ran into anything, or what your worries for the future are, or if you're even worried at all, to be honest. And that's it. Oh, follow me on Twitch if you guys haven't. Follow me on Twitter. Catch me live on Fridays. Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.
Family, 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 family.